Joshua chapter 4. When the whole nation had crossed the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, "Choose 12 men, one from each tribe, and command them to take 12 stones out of the middle of the Jordan, from the very place where the priests were standing. Tell them to carry these stones with them and to put them down where you camp tonight." Then Joshua called the 12 men he had chosen and said, "Go into the Jordan ahead of the covenant box of the Lord your God. Each one of you take a stone on your shoulder, one for each of the tribes of Israel. These stones will remind the people of what the Lord has done in the future. When your children ask what these stones mean to you, you will tell them that the water of the Jordan stopped flowing when the Lord's covenant box crossed the river. These stones will always remind the people of Israel of what happened here." The men followed Joshua's orders as the Lord had commanded Joshua. They took 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, one for each of the tribes of Israel, carried them to the camping place, and put them down there. Joshua also set up 12 stones in the middle of the Jordan, where the priests carrying the covenant box had stood. Let's repeat from verse 9. Let us repeat from verse 8. The men followed Joshua's orders as the Lord had commanded Joshua. They took 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, one for each of the tribes of Israel, carried them to the camping place, and put them down there. Joshua also set up 12 stones in the middle of the Jordan, where the priests carrying the covenant box had stood. Those stones are still there. The priests stood in the middle of the Jordan until evening. Everything had been done that the Lord ordered Joshua to tell the people to do. This is what Moses had commanded. The people hurried across the river, and they were all on the other side. The priests with the Lord's covenant box went on ahead of the people. The men of the tribes of Reuben and Gad and of half the tribe of Manasseh, ready for battle, crossed ahead of the rest of the people, as Moses had told them to do. In the presence of the Lord, about 40,000 men ready for war crossed over to the plain near Jericho. What the Lord did that day made the people of Israel consider Joshua a great man. They honored him all his life, just as they had honored Moses. Then the Lord told Joshua to command the priests carrying the covenant box to come up out of the Jordan. Joshua did so, and when the priests reached the river bank, the river began flowing once more and flooded its banks again. The people crossed the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month and made camp at Gilgal, east of Jericho. There, Joshua set up the 12 stones taken from the Jordan. He said to the people of Israel, "In the future, when your children ask you what these stones mean, you will tell them about the time when Israel crossed Jordan on dry ground. Tell them that the Lord your God dried up the water of the Jordan for you until you had crossed, just as he dried up the Red Sea for us. Because of this, everyone on earth will know how great the Lord's power is, and you will honor the Lord your God forever." Joshua chapter 5. All the Amorite kings went over Jordan, and all the Canaanite kings along the Mediterranean Sea heard that the Lord had dried up the Jordan until the people of Israel had crossed it. They became afraid and lost their courage because of the Israelites. Then the Lord told Joshua, "Make some knives out of flint and circumcise the Israelites." So Joshua did as the Lord had commanded, and he circumcised the Israelites at a place called Circumcision Hill. When the people of Israel left Egypt, all the males were already circumcised. However, during the 40 years the people spent crossing the desert, none of the baby boys had been circumcised. Also, by the end of that time, all the men who were of fighting age when they left Egypt had died because they had disobeyed the Lord, just as he had sworn. They were not allowed to see the rich and fertile land that he had promised their ancestors. The sons of these men had never been circumcised, and it was this new generation that Joshua circumcised. After the circumcision was completed, the whole nation stayed in the camp until the wounds had healed. The Lord said to Joshua, "Today I have removed from you the disgrace of being slaves in Egypt." That is why the place was named Gilgal, the name it still has. While the Israelites were camping at Gilgal on the plain near Jericho, they observed Passover on the evening of the 14th day of the month. The next day was the first day they ate food grown in Canaan, roasted grain and bread made without yeast. The manna stopped falling then, and the Israelites no longer had any. From that time on, they ate food grown in Canaan. From that time on, they ate food grown in Canaan. While Joshua was near Jericho, he suddenly saw a man standing in front of him, holding a sword. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you one of our soldiers or an enemy?" "Neither," the man answered. "I am here as the commander of the Lord's army." Joshua threw himself on the ground in worship and said, "I am your servant, sir. What do you want me to do?" And the commander of the Lord's army told him, "Take your sandals off." Take your sandals off. You are standing on holy ground. And Joshua did as he was told. Joshua chapter 6. The gates of Jericho were kept shut and guarded to keep the Israelites out. No one could enter or leave the city. The Lord said to Joshua, "I am putting into your hands Jericho, with its king and all its brave soldiers. You and your soldiers are to march round the city once a day for 6 days. 7 priests, each carrying a trumpet, are to go in front of the covenant box. On the 7th day, you and your soldiers are to march around the city 7 times while the priests blow the trumpets. Then they are to sound one long note. As soon as you hear it, all the people are to give a loud shout, and the city walls will collapse. Then the whole army will go straight into the city. Joshua called the priests and said to them, "Take the covenant box, and 7 of you go in front of it, carrying trumpets." Then he ordered the people to start marching around the city, with an advance guard going on ahead of the Lord's covenant box. So, just as Joshua had ordered, an advance guard started out ahead of the priests who were blowing trumpets. Behind this came the priests who were carrying the covenant box, followed by a rear guard. All this time the trumpets were sounding. But Joshua had ordered the people not to shout, not to say a word until he gave the order. So he told this group of men to take the Lord's covenant box round the city once. Then they came back to camp and spent the night there. Joshua got up early the next morning, and for the second time, the priests and soldiers marched round the city in the same order as the day before. First, the advance guard. Next, the 7 priests blowing the 7 trumpets. Then the priests carrying the Lord's covenant box. And finally, the rear guard. All this time, the trumpets were sounding. On this second day, they again marched round the city once and then returned to camp. They did this for 6 days. On the seventh day, they got up at daybreak and marched 7 times round the city in the same way. This was the only day that they marched round it 7 times. The 7th time round, when the priests were about to sound the trumpets, Joshua ordered the people to shout, and he said, "The Lord has given you the city. The city and everything in it must be totally destroyed as an offering to the Lord. Only the prostitute Rahab and her household will be spared, because she hid our spies. But you are not to take anything that is to be destroyed. If you do, you will bring trouble and destruction on the Israelite camp. Everything made of silver, gold, bronze, or iron is set apart for the Lord. It is to be put in the Lord's treasury." So the priests blew the trumpets. As soon as the people heard it, they gave a loud shout, and the walls collapsed. Amen. Then all the army went straight up the hill into the city and captured it. With their swords, they killed everyone in the city, men and women, young and old. He also killed the cattle, sheep, and donkeys. Joshua then told the 2 men who had served as spies, "Go into the prostitute's house and bring her and her family out, as you promised her." So they went and brought Rahab out, along with her father and mother, her brothers, and the rest of her family. They took them all, family and slaves, to safety near the Israelite camp. Then they set fire to the city and burnt it to the ground, along with everything in it, except the things made of gold, silver, bronze, and iron, which they took and put in the Lord's treasury. But Joshua spared the lives of the prostitute Rahab and all her relatives, because she had hidden the 2 spies that he had sent to Jericho. Her descendants have lived in Israel to this day. At that time, Joshua issued a solemn warning: anyone who tries to rebuild the city of Jericho will be under the Lord's curse. Whoever lays the foundation will lose his eldest son. Whoever builds the gates will lose his youngest. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame spread through the whole country. Joshua chapter 7. The Lord's command to Israel not to take from Jericho anything that was to be destroyed was not obeyed. A man named Achan disobeyed that order, and so the Lord was furious with the Israelites. Achan was the son of Carmi and grandson of Zabdi, and belonged to the clan of Zerah, a part of the tribe of Judah. Joshua sent some men from Jericho to Ai, a city east of Bethel, near Bethaven, with orders to go and explore the land. When they had done so, they reported back to Joshua, "There is no need for everyone to attack Ai. Send only about 2,000 or 3,000 men. Don't set the whole army up there to fight. It is not a large city." So about 3,000 Israelites made the attack, but they were forced to retreat. The men of Ai chased them from the city gate as far as some quarries and killed about 36 of them on the way down the hill. Then the Israelites lost their courage and were afraid. Joshua and the leaders of Israel tore their clothes in grief, threw themselves to the ground before the Lord's covenant box, and lay there till evening, with dust on their heads to show their sorrow. And Joshua said, "Sovereign Lord, Why did you bring us across the Jordan at all, to hand us over to the Amorites, to destroy us? Why didn't we just stay on the other side of the Jordan? What can I say, O Lord, now that Israel has retreated from the enemy? The Canaanites and everyone else in the country will hear about it. They will surround us and kill every one of us. And then what will you do to protect your honor? The Lord said to Joshua, Get up. Why are you lying on the ground like this? Israel has sinned. They have broken the agreement with me that I ordered them to keep. They have taken some of the things condemned to destruction. They stole them, lied about it, and put them with their own things. This is why the Israelites cannot stand against their enemies. They retreat from them because they themselves have now been condemned to destruction. I will not stay with you any longer unless you destroy the things you are ordered not to take. Get up, purify the people, and get them ready to come before me. Tell them to be ready tomorrow, because I, the Lord God of Israel, have this to say. Israel, you have in your possession some things that I ordered you to destroy. You cannot stand against your enemies until you get rid of these things. So tell them that in the morning they will be brought forward, tribe by tribe. The tribe that I pick out will then come forward, clan by clan. The clan that I pick out will come forward, family by family. The family that I pick out will forward one by one. The one who is then picked out and found with the condemned goods will be burnt, along with his family and everything he owns. For he has brought terrible shame on Israel and has broken my covenant. Early the next morning, Joshua brought Israel forward, tribe by tribe, and the tribe of Judah was picked out. He brought the tribe of Judah forward, clan by clan, and the clan of Zerah was picked out. Then he brought the clan of Zerah forward, family by family, and the family of Zabdi was picked out. Then he brought Zabdi's family forward, one by one, and Achan, the son of Carmi and grandson of Zabdi, was picked out. Joshua said to him, My son, tell the truth here before the Lord, the God of Israel, and confess. Tell me now what you have done. Don't try to hide it from me. It's true. Achan answered, I have sinned against the Lord, Israel's God, and this is what I did. Among the things we seized, I saw a beautiful Babylonian cloak, about 2 kilograms of silver, and a bar of gold weighing over half a kilogram. I wanted them so much that I took them. So you will find them buried inside my tent, with the silver at the bottom. So Joshua sent some men who ran to the tent and found that the condemned things really were buried there, with the silver at the bottom. They brought them out of the tent, took them to Joshua and all the Israelites, and laid them down in the presence of the Lord. Joshua, along with all the people of Israel, seized Achan, the silver, the cloak, and the bar of gold, together with Achan's sons and daughters, his cattle, donkeys, and sheep, his tent, and everything else he owned, and they took them to Trouble Valley. And Joshua said, Why have you brought such terrible on us? Sorry, why have you brought us? I repeat, why have you brought such trouble on us? The Lord will now bring trouble on you. All the people then stoned Achan to death. He also stoned and burnt his family and possessions. They put a huge pile of stones over him, which is there to this day. That is why that place is still called Trouble Valley. Then the Lord was no longer furious. Wow. Joshua chapter 8. The Lord said to Joshua, Take all the soldiers with you, and go on up to Ai. Don't be afraid or discouraged. I will give you victory over the king of Ai. His people, city, and land will be yours. You are to do to Ai and its kings what you did to Jericho and its king, but this time you may keep its goods and livestock for yourselves. Prepare to attack the city by surprise from the rear. So Joshua got ready to go to Ai with all his soldiers. He picked out 30,000 of his best troops and sent them out at night with these orders: hide on the other side of the city, but not too far away from it. Be ready to attack. My men and I will approach the city. When the men of Ai come out against us, we will turn and run, just as we did the first time. They will pursue us until we have led them away from the city. They will think that we are running away from them, as we did before. Then you will come out of hiding and capture the city. The Lord your God will give it to you. After you have taken the city, set it on fire, just as the Lord has commanded. These are your orders. So Joshua sent them out, and they went to their hiding place and waited there, west of Ai, between Ai and Bethel. Joshua spent the night in camp. Early in the morning, Joshua got up and called the soldiers together. Then he and the leaders of Israel led them to Ai. Excuse me. The soldiers with him went towards the main entrance to the city and set up camp on the north side, with a valley between themselves and Ai. He took about 5,000 men and put them in hiding west of the city, between Ai and Bethel. The soldiers were arranged for battle, with the main camp north of the city and the rest of the men to the west. Joshua spent the night in the valley. When the king of Ai saw Joshua's men, he acted quickly. He and all his men went out towards the Jordan Valley to fight the Israelites at the same place as before, not knowing that he was about to be attacked from the rear. Joshua and his men pretended that they were retreating and ran away towards a barren country. All the men in the city had been called together to go after them, and as they pursued Joshua, they kept getting farther away from the city. Wow. They kept getting farther away from the city. Every man in Ai went after the Israelites, and the city was left wide open with no one to defend it. Then the Lord said to Joshua, point your spear at Ai. I am giving it to you. Joshua did as he was told, and as soon as he lifted his hand, the men who had been hiding got up quickly, ran into the city, and captured it. They immediately set the city on fire. When the men of Ai looked back, they saw the smoke rising to the sky. There was no way for them to escape, because the Israelites who had run towards the barren country now turned round to attack them. When Joshua and his men saw that the others had taken the city and that it was on fire, they turned round and began killing the men of Ai. The Israelites in the city now came down to join the battle. So the men of Ai found themselves completely surrounded by Israelites, and they were all killed. No one got away, and no one lived through it, except the king of Ai. He was captured and taken to Joshua. The Israelites killed every one of the enemy in the barren country where they had chased them. Then they went back to Ai and killed everyone there. Joshua kept his spear pointed at Ai and did not put it down until every person there had been killed. I repeat, Joshua kept his spear pointed at Ai and did not put it down until every person there had been killed. The whole population of Ai was killed that day, 12,000 men and women. The Israelites kept for themselves the livestock and goods captured in the city, as the Lord had told Joshua. Joshua burnt Ai and left it in ruins. It is still like that today. He hanged the king of Ai from a tree and left his body there until evening. At sunset, Joshua gave orders for the body to be removed, and it was thrown down at the entrance to the city gate. They covered it with a huge pile of stones, which is still there today. Then Joshua built on Mount Ebal an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel. He made it according to the instructions that Moses, the Lord's servant, had given the Israelites, as it says in the law of Moses, an altar made of stones which have not been cut with iron tools. On it they offered burnt sacrifices to the Lord, and they also presented their fellowship offerings. There, with the Israelites looking on, Joshua made on the stones a copy of the law which Moses had written. The Israelites, with their leaders, officers, and judges, as well as the foreigners among them, stood on two sides of the Lord's covenant box, facing the Levitical priests who carried it. Half the people stood with their backs to Mount Gerizim, and the other half with their backs on Mount Ebal. I repeat from verse 33. The Israelites, with their leaders, officers, and judges, as well as the foreigners among them, stood on two sides of the Lord's covenant box, facing the Levitical priests who carried it. Half the people stood with their backs to Mount Gerizim, and the other half with their backs to Mount Ebal. The Lord's servant Moses had commanded them to do this when the time came for them to receive the blessing. Joshua then read aloud the whole law, including the blessings and the curses, just as they are written in the book of the law. Every one of the commandments of Moses was read by Joshua to the whole gathering, which included women and children, as well as the foreigners living among them. Joshua chapter 9. The victories of Israel became known to all the kings west of the Jordan, in the hills, in the foothills, and all along the coastal plain of the Mediterranean Sea, as far north as Lebanon. These were the kings of the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. They all came together and joined forces to fight against Joshua and the Israelites. But the people of Gibeon, who were Hivites, heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, and they decided to deceive him. They went and got some food and loaded their donkeys with worn out sacks and patched up wineskins. They put on ragged clothes and worn out sandals that had been mended. The bread they took with them was dry and moldy. Then they went to the camp at Gilgal and said to Joshua and the Israelites, "We have come from a distant land. We want you to make a treaty with us." But the Israelites said, "Why should we make a treaty with you? Maybe you live nearby." They said to Joshua, "We are at your service." Joshua asked them, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" Then they told him this story. We have come from a very distant land, sir, because we have heard of the Lord your God. We have heard about everything that he did in Egypt and what he did to the two Amorite kings east of the Jordan, King Sihon of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth. Our leaders and all the people that live in our land told us to get some food ready for our journey and to go and meet you. We were told to put ourselves at your service and ask you to make a treaty with us. Look at our bread. When we left home with it and started out to meet you, it was still warm. But look, now it is dry and moldy. When we filled these wineskins, they were new, but look, they are torn. Our clothes and sandals are worn out from a long journey. The Israelites accepted some food from them, but did not consult the Lord about it. Hmm. Joshua made a treaty of friendship with the people of Gibeon and allowed them to live. The leaders of the community of Israel gave their solemn promise to keep the treaty. 3 days after the treaty had been made, the Israelites learned that these people did indeed live nearby. So the people of Israel started out and 3 days later arrived at the cities where these people lived: Gibeon, Kephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the Israelites could not kill them because they had made a solemn promise to them in the name of the Lord, Israel's God. All the people complained to the leaders about this, but they answered, "We have made our solemn promise to them in the name of the Lord God of Israel. Now we cannot harm them. We must let them live because of our promise. If we don't, God will punish us. Let them live, but they will have to cut wood and carry water for us." This was what the leaders suggested. Joshua ordered the people of Gibeon to be brought to him, and he asked them, "Why did you deceive us and tell us that you were from far away when you live right here? Because you did this, God has condemned you. Your people will always be slaves, cutting wood and carrying water for the sanctuary of my God." They answered, "We did it, sir, because we learned that it was really true that the Lord your God has commanded his servant Moses to give you the whole land and to kill the people living in it as you advanced. We did it because we were terrified of you. We were in fear of our lives. Now we are in your power. Do with us what you think is right." So this is what Joshua did. He protected them and did not allow the people of Israel to kill them. But at the same time, he made them slaves to cut wood and carry water for the people of Israel and for the Lord's altar. To this day, they have continued to do this work in the place where the Lord has chosen to be worshipped. Joshua chapter 10. Adonizedek, the king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had captured and totally destroyed Ai and had killed its king, just as he had done to Jericho and its king. He also heard that the king of Gibeon had made peace with the Israelites and were living among them. The people of Jerusalem were greatly alarmed at this because Gibeon was as large as any of the cities that had a king. It was larger than Ai, and its men were good fighters. So Adonizedek sent the following message to King Hoham of Hebron, King Piram of Jarmuth, King Japhia of Lachish, and to King Jebir of Eglon. Come and help me attack Gibeon, because its people have made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. These 5 Amorite kings, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon, joined forces, surrounded Gibeon, and attacked it. The men of Gibeon sent word to Joshua at the camp in Gilgal, "Do not abandon us, sir. Come at once and help us. Save us. All the Amorite kings in the hill country have joined forces and have attacked us." So Joshua and his whole army, including the best troops, started out from Gilgal. The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them. I have already given you the victory. Not one of them will be able to stand against you." All night, Joshua and his army marched from Gilgal to Gibeon, and they made a surprise attack on the Amorites. The Lord made the Amorites panic at the sight of Israel's army. The Israelites slaughtered them at Gibeon and pursued them down the mountain pass at Beth Horon, keeping up the attack as far as Azekah and Makeda. While the Amorites were running down the pass from the Israelite army, the Lord made large hailstones fall down on them all the way to Azekah. More were killed by the hailstones than by the Israelites. On the day that the Lord gave the men of Israel victory over the Amorites, Joshua spoke to the Lord. In the presence of the Israelites, he said, Sun, stand still over Gibeon. Moon, stop over Ajalon Valley. The sun stood still, and the moon did not move until the nation had conquered its enemies. This is written in the book of Jashar. The sun stood still in the middle of the sky and did not go down for a whole day. Never before and never since has there been a day like it, when the Lord obeyed a human being. The Lord fought on Israel's side. After this, Joshua and his army went back to the camp at Gilgal. Please give me a break. I go, and then I'll be back after a short while. Thank you, and God bless you.